please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you're doing in tech right now?
Yeah, my name is Jim Hall, and my background in open source software is I've been working in open source software since like the mid 90s. I think I first started doing stuff in 1993. Today, we're going to talk about the FreeDOS project that started in 1994, but I've also been doing lots of other work in open source software, especially usability open source software. Professionally, I've been kind of in IT my entire career, systems administration, running Unix, running Linux, uh, going into IT leadership, becoming a CIO in government and higher ed. Right now, I'm a consultant. I do training and workshops, but I also teach some university courses as well in technical writing and technical communication. So I kind of do kind of a lot.
That is a very diverse background. And I'm sure that your tech background also influenced your open source journey. Do you remember how you first learned about open source?
Yeah, I learned about open source software before the term open source. Back then, it was still just free software. And I was an undergraduate physics student, University of Wisconsin, River Falls. And math for physics and chemistry, which required some computing in there. So we had to learn Fortran. And so we used the VAX systems and things like that at our university. But hanging around the computer lab, you learn about the other computer systems we had there. And we had a Unix system. We had a Unix lab, and they had Emacs, GNU Emacs installed on it. And I got a Unix account, and I kind of started to use Emacs. I thought Emacs was actually really nice, a really nice, powerful editor. And I was thrilled to find that, this is actually, free software, right? Back then, I just thought it was just free as in no cost. But, then I started to realize it really was free as in freedom, which is important to me because as I kind of was going ahead in my undergraduate career, I wanted to explore more about this, Unix environment. And I asked around, can I run a Unix system on my computer at home? And so it was 1993 that I found Linux. Somebody had said, "Oh yeah, there's a new thing called Linux, right? I mean, if you want to buy a Unix system, you're gonna be paid through the nose, but there's this new thing called Linux, and there's a Linux distribution called SLS Linux. It was Soft Landing Systems Linux, and they advertise themselves as like the soft landing for DOS bailouts. And I was a DOS user long time before that, and so I was like, oh, that's me. And so I installed Linux on my computer at home. I dual booted with DOS. And, it was like, wow, instantly all the tools that we had on the Unix lab, I had at home, including Emacs. And so I used Emacs, for doing all my programming at home. And where I really got into the open source part of that, where actually, you could modify it, because up until then, I was just a user. But I did an internship at a mapping company. We did like custom maps. It's kind of like what you do in like Google Maps today, but it was for corporate customers. And so I did I did an internship. I did a little bit of coding for them, and I didn't like the editor, and so I asked, can I compile Emacs? And so yeah, you can compile Emacs for that. That'd be okay. And so I brought in Emacs, and I couldn't get it to work. And so I actually, because I had the source code, I actually was able to dig in and figure out why it wasn't compiling, because that was the problem. It just wasn't compiling. So I had to dig in, and even though I didn't know Lisp or anything like that, I was still able to figure out what line was breaking and make a fix that would actually work on our system, do a little bit of research. And then I got it to compile. And so I sent that fix back to the GNU Emacs developers. Yeah, that was the first time I actually contributed to an open source or at that time free software project. That's kind of what got me into thinking is like, this is kind of cool that people can, they'll release these programs. And in the DOS world, you're doing a lot of DOS applications, Word Perfect and things like that. And it's like you buy the program and that's all you get, But now it's like you can download the software and you get the source code too. So if you need to fix it, you can. And so in that case, I was trying to make it work on a system that was a kind of an odd corner case Unix system called Apollo. But here I was able to get it to work on Apollo because I had the source code. And because of that, that was for me just kind of cool. And so that was kind of opened the door to me for, this whole idea of contributing back to some sort of open source software project.